Right now, America has its very first openly gay male athlete still active in a major team sport. What happens now and how will he be received? We're going to be asking you at home to sound off. And next, Republican mayoral candidate Joe Lhota. He has some barbs for his potential competition, calling Anthony Weiner, among other things, undisciplined. He's openly questions whether or not New Yorkers are ready to just forgive and forget. And later, today, it is 6 months to the day since Superstorm Sandy slammed into our region. We're going to bring you up to speed as to where our region stands in its recovery efforts. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Thanks a lot for joining us this Monday evening, April 29th. Now, we start tonight with the story of Jason Collins. If you don't know who he is, he's one of twin brothers here, both playing or have played in the NBA, and he most recently suited up with the Washington Wizards, who till today, most of you probably never heard of since it's been a while since they've been in the playoffs. But today, Mr. Collins made history, becoming the first openly gay male active team sport athlete in the U.S. And for more, I want to bring in our own Andrew Wood.
And Rich, until today, Jason Collins fit the image of an average journeyman NBA player. At 34 years old, he's on the downslope of his pro basketball career. He's played for 6 teams after being drafted number 18 in the first round of the 2001 NBA draft. Collins has never been an all-star. He's averaged just 3.6 points in his 713 NBA games. But as of today, Jason Collins will never be considered just an average journeyman player ever again. Today, Sports Illustrated released an article with Collins on the cover of its upcoming May 6th issue. It's Collins with a simple title, The Gay Athlete. Collins is credited with co-writing the cover story, and it begins just as directly as the cover does itself. Quote, "I'm a 34-year-old NBA center, I'm black, and I'm gay." He continues, quote, "I didn't set out to be the first openly gay athlete playing in a major American team sport, but since I am, I'm happy to start the conversation. If I had my way, someone else would have already done this. No one has, which is why I'm raising my hand." And on the impact his coming out will have on his career, quote, "Now I'm a free agent, literally and figuratively. I've reached that enviable state in life in which I can do pretty much what I want, and what I want is to continue to play basketball. At the same time, I want to be genuine and authentic and truthful." Rich?
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. And for more on this, let's bring in our guest. We are joined on phone by ESPN New York radio sportscaster Jared Max. Jared, not only a veteran sports reporter, he too kept his homosexuality a secret for years before he came out to his radio audience a little less than 2 years ago. Jared, thank you very much for a few minutes. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, today, for many long in coming, we had heard many rumors that as many as 4 NFL players, and maybe they still would come out together, maybe even in this offseason. We haven't seen it yet. This is a barrier of sorts. Talk about how important a one you think it is.
This is huge. I mean, it's huge in so many regards. Forget about the fact that Jason Collins, truthfully, is described as a marginal player in the NBA, a guy who's averaged pretty much 3 points for most of his career. This is the start of something much bigger. I would tend to think that in the coming days, in the coming weeks and months, players who are closeted they're being challenged within themselves right now. Is this the time for me to step forward? Jason Collins kind of opened the door, and just listen to some of the comments that you guys were just reading there. They very much echo comments that I was making a couple of years ago when I came out. Something I've always said was that I didn't ask to be this way. I never even asked to be. And I certainly did not want to be a pioneer. The thought of being a pioneer and of gay in sports was a very fearful thought for many years before I ever did my move. As far as what this does for sports, most importantly, this extends hope and improves the outlook on life for countless young athletes who just happen to be gay. And I say in that regard because being gay has nothing at all to do with putting a ball in the basket, throwing a touchdown pass, broadcasting a game. And that's the bottom line of it.
You've been in locker rooms, you've covered pro teams and dealt with athletes for your professional career. What do you think the reaction in the locker room is going to be, and what do you think the next time he gets introduced, whether in the starting lineup or he subs in, what do you think the fans and his teammates are going to react to this news with?
I have no way of knowing. I could just tell you this, that throughout my life, the people who I've come out to, I was wrong on just about everybody's reaction. I was never really spot on how somebody might be. I think at this point the level of acceptance is widespread. Maybe different now. Like I live in New Jersey, where I work in Manhattan every day, so maybe I'm a little bit biased and I don't see it through the same lenses as the majority of the country. This tends to be a pretty progressive area, the way others might see it. I believe that if you're the guy who's calling somebody out for their sexual orientation at a pro sporting event, I think you are going to be vilified. I think that's what happens, because nowadays it's not cool if people say certain words. Mm-hmm. It just isn't. When I was, 20 years ago when, I'm getting older. Yeah, 21, 22 years ago when I was in high school, that, I used certain that today wouldn't be, that were kind of homophobic. Nowadays, it's like you're the bad guy if you're using those words. I think the same is going to apply to sport.
And Jared, I think we just lost you, but thank you very much here. And again, that Jared. Jared. Hey, I had one last question for you, because when you came out, you described it as having dark-colored lenses lifted from your eyes. What do you think, regardless of the reception he gets, today must feel like for Mr. Collins, let alone tomorrow?
I think in the coming days, I tweeted at Jason a little bit earlier today, and I tweeted at him, and I don't know Jason. Early in his career, I interviewed him, a bunch of times when he was with the Nets, so we don't know each other. And I tweeted at him, write down your thoughts today, tomorrow, and the day after, because they were words that were encouraged to me when I came out, and I'm so glad that I did it. There's so many things that are running through your head at the time, and today, wow, this is almost 2 years since I came out. This is kind of bringing back some of those feelings, and it's really a great day of celebration. I mean, I'm kind of feeling a little bit of almost like a exaltation, and unexpected. Very much so. This is a celebration day, I think, for all of us, for anyone as a human being who wants to celebrate the fact that, what separates us from the rest isn't just our brains and our opposing thumbs, but that we have the ability to do these kinds of special things. And today, I think, is a great day for Americans. It's a great day for people. It's a great day for sports. It's a great day
Jared,
for
there's going to be, do you think this opens the door? I mean, I'm going to hazard a guess that other pro players have confided in you in different sports, they're gay. Do you think this opens the door that a lot of pro athletes, whether it be baseball, football, hockey, basketball, guys are going to come out now because Collins took the first step?
I think this is just the start right now. I think in the coming days, weeks and so, I think we are going to probably see a lot more. I just think the door's open right now.
Jared Max, thank you very much. I appreciate a few minutes.
You got it.
All right, let's bring in our panel on this. And remember, everybody, we're going to bring you at home into our conversation as well. Jeannie Zaino, political science professor for Iona College. Dominic Carter, political journalist, author. And Andrew, who you already met here. Andrew, you just passed me a note here. The president personally called Collins. I know the First Lady reached out as well, and he offered his both support and congratulations. Apparently, with minimal exceptions, the reaction so far from both the league and from players, let alone from public officials, has been, a warm embrace here in effect here. There's been very little, and what little there has been immediately smacked down from whether it be their particular teams or whatever else.
And it's been from ultra-conservative corners where you might actually expect something like that. I think the headline out of what Obama's call is that he called to congratulate him, which you might not have expected a few years ago. And I think when all is said and done on this story, the upshoot may well be that there's not much of a story, that everybody accepts it more willingly, more readily than we might have anticipated, or certainly when we had this conversation in the past couple of years with the possibility of a gay athlete coming out.
Remember, Dominic, how much we all talked about, ending Don't Ask, Don't Tell and what would happen? It's almost like that issue was a one-day thing, and the next we never heard anything about it after that. Nobody's been making a peep about it. You think that's the case, or you think when the locker room doors close, this guy's going to be ostracized?
I think that's the question, one, because anyone that's played sports, as both we have, when you're in the locker room, men, when you're on a team, and women as well, you're looking at each other naked, and I recall in my day, playing football, you didn't even want to look down a little bit because guys would be like, hey, you know, what are you looking down for? You know, because your private parts are exposed. I think that that those days are behind us. I think that this story, I think it's going to be around for a while, but I think that the athletes will accept him. I think more athletes are going to start coming out because they've been around for a long time.
Jeannie, put it in context of, imagine at your school or college, player on the basketball team or any of the teams, male or female, came out. Think they get a standing O at the arena when they get introduced for the next game? Or do you think they get the cat call?
Yeah, I think they would. I don't know if they get an actual standing ovation, but I think, you know, my experience with young people in the classroom has been for the last decade or more. So I feel like as adults, we're way behind the young people on this. Their reaction to all of this has been, what's the big deal? So what? They can't even imagine that this is an issue. But I do think that this is an important story for the young people who are athletes and who are gay, because it gives them an opening to say, hey, it's okay. Whether they're in junior high, high school, college, it's very important. But I do have to say, because I'm surrounded by men, that women have been far ahead of men on this. Female athletes have been coming out since 1981, the early 1990s, and men are way behind. And I get the culture of males in sports, but it is a vast difference between high-profile female athletes.
But, again, but it's individual sports primarily. We've seen some female athletes on team sports who have come out in recent years, but primarily
the WNBA,
primarily individual sports, and we've seen men like Greg Louganis on individual sports.
Look at it, Andrew, even in basketball for women, the #1 pick in the whole female draft, while it may have been assumed, she openly acknowledged she was gay. It was a blurb. The next day, no one even talked about it. And she will be on the face of every marketing campaign for that team. You see it even in the women's soccer. On the Olympic team, we have players that were gay.
And just getting back to another thing that Jeannie was saying, it is a generational divide. We say this all the time when we're talking about same-sex marriage or don't ask, don't tell, or gay athletes. Most professional athletes are in their 20s. You know, Mr. Collins is in his 30s. That's part of the difference here also. It's a generational thing. The real question is going to be the fans. I think the athletes are going to be okay for the most part. I certainly hope so. But how will the fans react? And
there's been a sense, and maybe they're wrong, that when he's on the road, he will be the only team, he'll be the only player from, let's say, the opposing team. You ever go to a game, you'll see, as usual, the fans always boo the other team when they come out, especially in basketball when they do the individual introductions and some of the other sports. But that he'll be the only team that'll get, you know, a loud ovation of any kind here, because it's not cool anymore to say that. It used to be accepted to say racial slurs in the stands not that many years ago. You get thrown out of the stadium if you say something like that, let alone getting a punch in the mouth. These things, I think, we'll see. Would a sponsor, though, get behind a player that's gay?
I think there'll be plenty of sponsors that get behind him. And we'll have to wait and see on this, but you know, you hope that the reaction will be good. Recently in England, a British soccer team was playing, and a black athlete scored a goal, and somebody in the stands made a monkey-like gesture, and it was caught on camera, and they've prosecuted him. He wasn't ostracized by the other fans surrounding him, but he was caught by authorities, and he's being prosecuted for it. So we hope, I certainly hope that doesn't.
This is one of those touchstone moments, cultural moments to see where we are, and sometimes sports is one of those areas in our society where you get visceral, instant reactions. You're going to see it when he's introduced. You're going to see it, you know, how his peers will react. Well, tonight, we're going to bring you into the conversation and ask you at home, do you think America is ready for an openly gay athlete? It's been a debate maybe people have had in the back, and now we can put a name to it and see where you stand. 38766-2428 is our toll-free number. When we come back, we're going to be reading both some of your online comments and also get into your phone calls. So if you're not on the phone lines already, please join us. You see the number there? We'll have your thoughts after this.